Welcome into episode 136 of About the Cards podcast, live tonight on YouTube. As always, with me, host Stefan Loeffler at Junkwax Twins. And he's on mute, which is the best part. And hey, Angela!
Hi!
Angela's hanging out with us tonight as well. At another double underscore Castle.
There you go.
Well, we figured with it being the Who's It's National Girls and Women in Sports Day, we're better than to have Angela hop in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, she definitely helped. I mean, she's the one that's doing all the research, and you're just being the mouthpiece, right?
Yeah, just about.
We also have Ben Wilson at our trading cards. And I'm Tim Shepard, our Big Shep 79. We're a podcast by collectors for collectors, hoping to bring you a smart, insightful podcast discussing trading card collecting. We're live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific.
10 Central.
On YouTube, Periscope, Facebook Live. Follow us on Twitter at About the Cards. We're available as a podcast everywhere you can find one. Check out the website aboutthecards.wordpress.com. Make sure you're checking out Underdog Collectibles. They are a card shop for collectors, run by collectors. You can join them live on YouTube and Facebook every Tuesday, Thursday, and Sunday night at 9 p.m. Eastern for live card breaks. They offer a wide variety of break options that won't break the bank. Remember, always bet on the underdog. And we have a very special guest with us back tonight. Big game, James. James Good at Run Good Live. What's up, James? How are we doing tonight, buddy?
Man, I am great tonight. You know, it has been just a wild last couple of months, really last 3-4 months in the hobby for me. So no, I'm good. You know, this whole pandemic thing has been a little crazy, but you know, I think and I can't complain. Like things have been great. Like honestly, like everything. Like I'm so much happier, and I'm really focused for this year. And just glad to be back on the show. Always a pleasure. Love this podcast.
No, I love. And you know, we were talking before the show, and we were talking about you got the new video setup going on for breaks, and I mean, like there's like days where I click on and I'm doing stuff around the house. I'm at the office. You know, I throw in one of your breaks, and it just I love it because it's funny. I like the little clips that get inserted in, and just the the honesty, and to watch it grown from what it was to where you are now. And then like you were doing the throwback ones where like on Sundays you were doing like the, hey, I'm going to do it from my phone again. And like, I always like those because it's like, oh, a retro break.
Back to where it was. Yeah. It's
so,
the progression has been a lot of fun. And I sometimes go back and watch those old videos just like where I was a year ago. Cause now I've been in this game for like over a year on YouTube. Like a year ago, I was on my computer desk, like with my monitor in the background, and I was ripping, product that's now worth 10x what it was back, back before viewers had flippers and you could just walk in on restock day at any point and be like, oh, I'll take that prism and that prism. And I guess I was the jerk because I was clearing out stores out for prism before people were doing it for eBay. So I guess I started that, and you can blame me if you got flippers at your local Walmart or Target.
I do. In fact, every night before bed, I damn you to hell, and as I'm watching your video, I'm like, son of a, all his fault. Him and his damn Mariners hat.
I didn't sell a single pack of Prism on eBay. I ripped it all myself, and the worst part was I sold all my Zions for like $60 a pop.
Oh.
Okay, then we'll let you come back. We love you again.
I still look back when I opened all mine, and I spent like $800 retail, and I pulled a Jaw Auto at an orange one, and I sold it the week of Thanksgiving. And it paid for everything I purchased. So all of that Prism was free, which ended up being 2 complete sets and a ton of Zion and Jaw rookies and everybody else. But I don't look that card up because I'm afraid of where it is. The last time I looked, it was around $1,200, and so I don't feel that bad.
Sure.
Because all the other stuff's free. But anyway, hey Steph, before we really get into talking with James, I have some questions before we get into the show, but. You got to actually go to a card show, and that's actually on my hobby goals list for the year. Like, and normally it's not, but this year it's to actually go to a show. I don't care if it's in someone's garage, and there's his kids are set up selling lemonade out front. Like I'd be there, but no. How was the Dallas show? This is the second one you guys have had in the last few months.
3 months, yeah.
3-4 months
November,
ago.
I want to say.
Yeah.
Well, for one, if you want to come down in June, July, somewhere
March
there's
is going to be one. There's going to be a big one in June.
but I meant on the same scale.
Oh, okay. June.
Yeah, no, there's one in June, so if you want to come down, you got a bedroom to sleep in at least. But can guarantee there won't be a cat sleeping in the bed with you. You'll have another cuddle buddy.
Insert joke here. I'm
Right.
not gonna go there tonight because we got one of our buddies said that they were upset. They were like, "Hey, I thought you had a family show." When I said we had the word backdoor action come on the show last week, where the guy was
So say
talking
it
about
again.
retail backdoor
Exactly.
action. Anyway,
But
so
no,
yeah, how was the Dallas card show?
So I only went Sunday. I had some family issues preventing me from going on Saturday.
I
She
went
went
Saturday.
both
It
days
was
on the weekend.
Nuts.
But no, I definitely saw a lot more retail and hobby stuff trying to be sold instead of single individuals. And there was a good bit of slab stuff, but several of the vendors that I've been to in the past and have a good camaraderie with had some nice vintage stuff for me.
Nice.
And then there was right at the very end, one of the guys was set up next to Rich. He had a bunch of twin stuff, and I found out he was in the Iowa area of all places, and came down to set up at the show. But he had probably 200 Redman, 200 or so exhibits, and just a bunch of oddball sign stuff. So I picked up a bunch of that. And then from one of our traveling show guys, Roger Neufeld, he had a card from 1911 for $30. Clyde Milan, brief longtime senator outfielder. If I'm not mistaken, he's in the hall too.
Here's a
Or should have been.
random hot take of the room, though. I believe there was more Pokemon action in the room than there was anything pre-1980.
She's not wrong.
There, guys. Oh wow, there's a lot of Pokemon.
A lot of Pokemon.
Well, yeah. So there was that, and then there was also a good bit of PlayStation action.
Yeah,
There was one guy who brought
Weird.
10 digital Playstations
he only
and
left
sold
with
each
one.
for $750, and he sold 9 of 10.
In the room.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
Okay.
And yeah, with Pokemon, I mean, there was a lot of packs. There was a lot of individual cards.
Oh, I saw our buddy Ryan Card Collector 2 went down there, and he
Yes.
said he had like a $30,000 purchase, his largest ever. He's opening a new. He's moving his store. He's getting a bigger location,
Oh, nice.
and he's up to like 10 employees now. And I was like, dude, when we talked to him, I was like, this is awesome to see. He's exploded, but. Yeah, he said it was good. How was the show? Like everybody respectful of space and mask. I mean, in Texas, it's like you guys do your own thing, which is good.
No, I mean, politics aside, no. For the most part, everything was pretty safe.
Good.
I would say I saw through. Mind you, I only went Sunday again. I would say I saw maybe 10 people without a mask on, or it's just relaxed, hanging off their nose, face, whatnots. But it seemed like every table had some hand sanitizer, hand gel, which was a nice touch. Aisles weren't too crowded, but again, it was a Sunday.
Saturday was another. The aisles were way too skinny. It was like the National on Thursday or Friday, not quite a Saturday. But the room's also smaller too, so.
Yeah, and I mean, I think they had 400, 450 tables, something like that.
Damn.
Wow.
Yeah.
It was a huge show.
And virtually no corporates. Those are all actual tables.
That's awesome. See, that's what makes it best, because then you have you have why you're there. There's no BS. There's all that stuff. So that's good to see. Well, awesome, guys. I mean, that's cool. Ben, you done anything fun like that?
Well, we had the show in Vallejo, which is just outside of the San Francisco Bay Area, back around first part of December, a couple weeks before Christmas. And, to Steph's point, it was kind of interesting because we also saw there was a table there that was full of Funkos. There's another guy that was there selling Hot Wheels and old Star Wars, and he had no cards whatsoever. The Funko guy had nothing but Funkos. This guy had nothing but action figure and one-off collectibles. So I'm sure those people probably have other collectible type parking lot sales shows and conventions and things that are no longer available to them at the moment. So it's kind of interesting to see those. Yeah, they're related, right? It's all hobby based. It's kind of interesting to see some of those tables all of a sudden pop up at card shows, and whether or not, let's speed up a year into the future and life is back to what we once knew. Do those stick around? Are they still buying tables? Because there's so much crossover. The first purchase I had, in fact, was a Funko for my wife Heather before I bought any trading cards. So
there are some solid comic book guys that started doing the card circuit because all the comic book conventions were down. So they were like, well, this is still going.
Yeah,
I'll try my hand here. So
yeah, you're going to get a lot of the same money. I don't know how much, but my dad was with me and he bought some stuff from the guy selling the Hot Wheels and the action figures. So I'm sure they probably did well. And if that's their only alternative at the moment, hell, why not? Especially when you have empty tables. There's no reason for them not to fill it up and hopefully cash in on some of the people that are looking for reasons to buy stuff and other alternatives outside of buying on eBay.
So I'll do a quick share here. Here was my 1911 card. It's an M116 Sporting Life, which, considering the back isn't all trash, I was surprised it was only $30. Unfortunately, probably won't be getting the Walter Johnson or Clark Griffith, amongst several others, for some reason or another. One of our good friends, Bruce, he was showing this off. He picked up some recent autographs and had them JSA authenticated at the show. Mel Blanc.
Mel Blanc. He was the voice, right, of everybody on.
Pretty much all the Looney Tunes.
Yeah.
Which is nice seeing all the characters there and then the signature. Like I said, I picked up some weird oddball stuff. My Redmans that I picked up, all with tabs. And he also showed me this. I don't know how much of a movie guy anyone that's listening to this show is, but Mae West signed checks for $11 and $15.
Interesting.
So it's kind of cool catching up. Everyone has their own releases, but hopping in here and going to a show is just a nice way to catch up with some old friends that don't necessarily have social media or see what they picked up recently.
That's awesome. So James, I'm so happy you're here tonight to hang out with us. But it's been a little bit since we've had you on, and you've really you were doing the video. We talked about you doing the videos, and you were doing your basic, some personal breaks and showing off stuff, and but you've kind of expanded, and you got this crazy setup you sent out today. But what have you been doing lately, with breaks and stuff? Because you started getting more into that.
Yeah, I think a lot of people in the middle of last year started asking me, are you ever going to go live on the channel? And I went live a couple of times just, ripping my own stuff and hanging out. I had a lot of Bowman I wanted to rip that wasn't going to be good for a daily video. So I was just hanging out, ripping my own stuff. And somebody was like, you should do group breaks. If you have all this stuff, you have the overhead camera, you know what you're doing, you should just do group breaks. And so, I wasn't really, at first, I didn't really have the thought for it. I'm like, man, I don't want to just get in that grind with people and do nightly group breaks. I have a lot of people that are doing it better than me. So I got this opportunity to buy some older wax, some older Prism from a former coworker. And he had 1819 cellos, 1920 cellos, and 1718 cellos of Prism. And I can't remember the counts. I think it was 15 total or something. Maybe it was 5 of each. And so I was like, well, this is way too expensive for me. I don't want to rip this. And then I was like, but if I group break this is what I had in mind. Doing something special that nobody else is ripping. I'll do a one-off event, for everybody. I'll see how it goes. and I'll make an event out of it. I'll start advertising it 2 weeks in advance, so I make sure it'll sell out. It sells out like 2 days, like 13 days to go, and it's sold out. And so like I put this together. It was really, really fun. And I was like, well, if I just do this like every other week, every other Saturday, I'll just turn it into an event. And I thought like, I watch a lot of group breaks, when I'm just working or whatever in my spare time, like just some background noise. And it's always like the same. It's like webcam quality. It's like hard to see the cards. Like the lighting's always bad. I was like, I like the top down. Not many group breakers are doing that top down view. Like I have the lighting down for my daily videos. And like, I love cards. Like I love just talking the hobby. Like I watch too many breaks where breakers are just very unenthusiastic. Like it's just a job to them. And I'm like, how do you open a $700 box and not feel some sort of excitement? Like what's coming? Like if you hit a $20,000 card and get excited, that's one thing. How do you not get excited opening a $700 box? And every card that you slide in that stack could be a 101, worth like life-changing money for somebody. So like I'm genuinely passionate about that. Like even like I feel like I'm the same for like lower end products as I am when we rip something high end, like a Prism hobby box or something like that. So I was like, I know I could present these better. I just don't want to get into that grind. So it went from 2 weeks, and doing, 2 breaks a night and then some personals to now we're going to do it every week and it's going to be 3 breaks and I'm, promoting them on my Instagram. I'm just like, it's December. I have the holidays coming up. I'm like, getting messages. Hey, are these breaks still available? Is this one sold out? I'm like, I have to get this website up. So I started working on the website. And once I got the website up in early January, just about a month ago, that's when it like really, really took off. And so like breaks are selling out. I'm not even really like talking to people. I'm just putting up the listings and they're selling out like the next day. People are coming into the group break, the live streams on Saturday night, and is like everything's sold out. Like we have nothing available. So then I'm putting together like a secret break on the fly, just to get people in who like didn't know about the website. And it's just kind of really started to snowball where I'm not just thinking about what my next break is, but I'm thinking about like what my next week is. And do I have football products for this upcoming Saturday? Do I have stuff for next week? And then it's like, I realized in December, I'm like, if I'm going to keep breaking like every weekend, like I should probably get legit. I should probably get a business license and like figure this whole thing out. And that's an area where I have no experience in. Like I never thought like I'd be a business owner. I never thought I'd be group breaking on a weekly basis. Or anything. And like right now, like I'm really, really happy with just seeing where this goes and seeing if this is the lane that I head down, doing, group breaks a couple nights a week. I know my life is going to get a lot busier later this year. And just I have some free time now. So we've been breaking on Wednesdays as well. But I want to keep switching it up. I don't want to just offer like the same breaks, So perfect example of that is Hoops just came out today. And all I see is these 4-box breaks of Hoops, because of the price. And I was like, well, you can just do Hoops, and we've been doing Hoops premium breaks. And I was like, you could just combine these 2 products, and now you have a bunch of really good teams. So I want to do things. I want to offer breaks that aren't being offered anywhere else in the hobby, and I want to present them in a way that they aren't always presented. So that's kind of where I'm at, and just seeing where it goes from there. But for me, like I enjoy breaks. I've also put together a couple Repack products with something that I like legitimately always wanted to do Repack products, but I wanted to do them with full transparency and not just like put like a Mahomes Silver Prism rookie card on the cover and say, you could get this card. Like I wanted to show everybody like every chase hit. I wanted to show them like a full breakdown of what a pack looks like. I just like, here's all the stuff you can get. Here's the cost. Like, I just wanted to be super fair with people and super transparent. And I think I've done 3 or 4 of those so far. And my last one's just about close to selling out. And that was a football one. And I'm probably going to do a basketball one here in the next 6 weeks or so. And yeah, I've just been really just finding my own lane in the hobby. I worked in the hobby for 8 years for a company, and now I'm just kind of flying solo on my own. And it took me a while to get my feet like up from under me and figure out like what I wanted to do besides the YouTube channel. And now that I have that, like, I'm really just I'm just going to see where it goes. I'm just going to have fun. And I always said, like, if I'm not having fun, I won't do something. And I'm just absolutely loving what I'm doing in the hobby right now.
No, I would agree. It lets people get a really good, like I said before, like a really good insight of what's going on and what's out there from a person that's passionate about it. Like you said, like, you watch some of these breaks and it's just like, yeah, okay, there's a Luka rookie, there's a, and nobody gets excited anymore because, oh God, I've seen this I've seen this card. We've opened 35 cases of this, and I just don't. Is this whatever?
Yep.
You get numb to it, and it's sad because at the same time that might be the first time they're interacting, and it's like, hey, like you have to have something or have some like some kind of banter with if you're doing a live break with the people in the chat, because sometimes some of the most fun things happen out of that, and so.
One other thing that should never be discounted when it comes to breaking is not just the enthusiasm and interaction, but the hobby knowledge. I've watched a lot of breaks. I mean, obviously product knowledge is huge, right? But, first day release, I mean, yeah, okay, flagship is flagship. But if we're seeing something we haven't seen for a while or something that's brand new to the hobby, maybe we don't know what all the refractors are and short prints and whatnot. But the hobby knowledge, you see a lot of these people who are just fly-by-night breakers now, who have acquired a lot of product and are going to try their hand at it. And they start opening up product. And yeah, okay, you can read the bottom of a card. And you can read the team associated. But they don't have a level of knowledge to be able to offer something, like Vin Scully, right? You're listening to this man, and this man has a dearth of knowledge. It's this overwhelming or a base of knowledge that is so vast, that he could talk all day long, every day, and never tell the same story twice. And so to have a breaker that can interact with customers and speak is huge. And you see a lot of these guys that don't, and I think that's a great quality to have, and it's what gets people coming back.
What's funny is I almost. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Shep.
No, go ahead. Go ahead.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I pretty much know like every name of parallels, and I have a pretty good idea of what's coming up in the pack when I flex aside and I see like what's in there. I actually had one today where at the end of one of we were doing Mosaic and Prism hanger boxes, and it was a snake draft. So we randomized the list order of participants, and then they got to pick their teams. They got 30 seconds to pick, kind of like fantasy football. And at the end, a couple of the people in my breaks bought 2 of my chase packs, and they wanted to put them in the break for everybody, just like a gift. And so one of the things in my last chase pack is I bought a box of Phoenix football and randomly inserted those packs into the chase packs. And we hit one of those. So I open it, and I actually see a parallel I've never seen before, which was the fire and ice. And I didn't know what to call it. And that's one of the first times that I've ever gotten caught off guard with one of those. But going back to what Ben was saying about, you get these breakers who, they want to open the product, and they mean well, but there's just, inefficiencies in what they're doing. The other thing that I really don't like about the breaking community is I can't stand the, base vets don't ship. To me, that just comes across as being lazy on the back end and not wanting to sort those cards. So when I'm putting together breaks, like, everything ships. Like that's always been my policy. Everything ships, and I'm going to protect it well. Like all rookies get soft sleeved. If I'm shipping you vets, I'm going to put as many of them I can in a thick sleeve, and then I'm going to put those in a team bag and surround them with 2 top loaders. I'm going to make sure everything's safe, and I'm going to do everything right. So that was my other thing, is no shortcuts. I know that if I do 4 group breaks on a Saturday night, that means I'm committing myself all day Sunday to sorting those, sleeving those, and packaging those and shipping those. So I just wanted to do things right. And so when I'm deciding what I want to break, a large part of it goes into like how much work is on the back end. That's why I don't think I'll ever do, a case of Top Series 1, is because I have this policy, like everything ships. And I'm like, there's no way I could sort all that in one day. And that's my policy. The other thing is I never want to get into a scenario where I'm doing breaks. Like I break and then the next day I prep for shipping. I never want to get into a scenario where, I'm backed up and I have to sort three days worth of breaks, or 2 breaks or whatever. And just, that's the point where, if you're not enjoying the whole process, you shouldn't be doing it.
One thing that's funny is our good buddy Kevin W., who listens to our show, had sent me some Bowman Heritage, and he tossed in a couple of Gus Varland parallels. There was I think there was a blue and a yellow. And so I looked them up because I wanted to make sure I put them into my database correctly, because I figured they'd call them, canary and, God knows what color blue that they would have pulled in. And they were just called blue and yellow. And I was like, wow, okay. That's interesting. Green has always got to be emerald, and you got amethyst and sapphire, and it's just like these ones. Hey, they were just blue and yellow, and but yeah, it's amazing how many breakers don't ship base, and that's cool. You don't want to do that. That's fine. That's an easy pass, right? That's like literally me going to the hamburger stand, right? And let me get a large number one, which is supposed to come with a hamburger, French fries, and the soda. And then you get up to the counter and they're like $10. Cool. And then they're like, oh, by the way, we're not going to give you your French fries.
Yeah, we don't want to cut the potatoes or make the fries.
Yeah, so you get the burger and you get the soda. And if you want the ice in the soda, now it's going to be $11. This is I don't understand why. I mean, I guess on like some of the, but as long as you tell somebody up front, and I think most breakers probably do, or they should at the very least. I mean, if you tell me you're not shipping based on this particular product, because I know sometimes Mojo Break, I think, does that, but then they donate those cards, I believe. Yeah. If I know going in, as if it's a hit-based product with a crap load of base, okay, then now it's up to me as the buyer to decide whether or not I want to move forward with that particular purchase.
I think if there was ever a product that I wanted to break, but I didn't want to, like, it's just a ton of base cards, I would do a thing where, like, obviously you sort out, like, rookies, inserts, key, players, but then maybe you take all of the excess base of, like, the no-name or whatever, and you just evenly distribute it. So that's kind of what if people really want me to do Series 1, I've been toying with that idea. Like, obviously I'd sort out, like, the base second-year Yordons, and I'd probably sort out too much. But, like, the middle reliever pitchers and stuff, like, maybe just evenly distribute those amongst everybody in the break. So everybody gets, like, random teams or whatever, but it's all just veteran base.
Yeah. Well, I was going to say, what I enjoy most is following on Twitter when you have interactions with a company in the state of Washington that might have a, ComC, we'll just say it. Sure. That the comps I really love those. It makes me laugh. So
I just want people in the hobby, like, if you're gonna put in the work, right? Like, if you're gonna call yourself your trusted expert in the hobby, you should be trusted experts in the hobby. Like, same thing. And I go after, like, I will praise you if you're good, and I will be against you if you're bad. Like, that's just who I am. Like, I've always been, like, a very chill person. Like, I'm cool with everybody. I don't have very many enemies. But, like, the people who don't like me, it's because I probably called them out on something, and they know they're wrong. But, like, I'm like that. Like, I just call it like I see it, and I realize, like, there's tens of thousands of companies in this hobby. Like, if I make 3 of them angry, so what, right?
Well, and that's how we are, too. The same thing. It's like, hey, we're just 3 guys talking about baseball card or trading cards and letting people know, like, the honest truth behind it, and that's the thing. It's like we shouldn't sugarcoat or hide anything. And again, that goes back to the premise of why we started doing this show, is because there weren't people doing that. And now everybody, and I appreciate it. I love the fact that everybody and their mom is doing a podcast, but it can be a grind. But you have, it takes a lot. And for you to, and like that, you start out doing the breaks and stuff, and you start to build and build and build. There's a lot more behind the scenes than people actually see the final product. Yeah. And that's the biggest thing. And being consistent, being upfront, being honest, being forthright with everything.
Well, exactly. And I mean, much like a job, you have to put in the work, otherwise you're fired. And that's where you see these, 3 breaks and they're done, 4 breaks and they're done, or they've moved on, or they just don't ship anything.
Well, Brandon Cooks to 99.
Right. But with breaks, because I had helped out a local card shop back in like 2014, and this was when breaking was just starting to come around, and there weren't a ton of them. The cost.
Don't insult the breakers' kids.
Yeah. The associated cost, the upfront cost, is tremendous, and the margins are not. People that are making a lot of money in this hobby as breakers are probably doing it in volume. There's not a lot of margin, at least not product over product. Obviously, there's going to be some that are going to have much better margins because that people are going to be willing to pay for certain teams at a higher rate. But also, you have to
get allocated a ton of product.
Yeah, there's a lot of variables, and if the 4 of us guys and obviously, James, we're going to set aside for a moment that you break. Let's just assume that none of us break, and the four of us decide tomorrow we're going to start a business, right? It's going to be about the cards and James, and that's our breaker name. What are the odds of us being able to go get the product?
Shoot, sorry.
And being able to not just get it once, but time over time over time over time. It's just not going to happen, and that's why a lot of these guys, I don't think, intend to not be around next week. They just can't because they just can't get the product right now.
Well, the one thing is you need hundreds of thousands of dollars at this point to do that. It's insane. Just really quick, couple things. Talking about allocation. So, a year ago, I was able to get cases of whatever of Topps flagship because that's really what I like to open and do. Easy. Towards the end of last year, it was a single box of jumbo and hobby. I got that for Series 1 coming up here next week. But for Series 2, those allocations have been filled. I got 0. And I understand, but I just asked my account manager, and I said, hey, like, what's, and he goes, to be honest with you, Shep, you're going to need to spend 6 figures to get product now. And I keep it for supplies.
Figures.
Yeah, and that's just in product only. They don't count supplies, the ancillary stuff, and so it's crazy. I want to save that. That's a whole nother discussion. But I want to know, James, what have you added anything to your PC? I know you have some Hanniger stuff. Have you added something new since we last spoke?
Yeah. I actually have some stuff in front of me, actually. So I'll show them off for the people watching. This was a big one that I added last year. This is the Mitch Haniger Superfractor from 2017 Topps Chrome. This is my white whale. When I bought it, he had it up for $600. I hit the buy it now within 45 minutes of it going up. I have alerts set on eBay. They all went off, and I was like, no way. And then I see the card, hit buy it now. He cancels my sale and says, like, he thinks that he thinks like he undersold it. I explained the deal to him, like, I'm the super collector. Like, this is all I've ever wanted. He puts it back up for $1,300. I hit the buy it now again immediately, and he finally ships me the card. And then he calls me a bully after the fact for bullying him and selling it. So I have that one. This is one I got just a couple of months ago. This is a Russ Wilson 2012 Topps Chrome PSA 10 rookie auto. And that one came together. Somebody reached out to me on Instagram with this one and was like, hey, I hit this in a repack product and I want to trade it for wax. What can you do? So I traded him a box of Prism No Huddle and a box of Mosaic No Huddle. And now I have this Russell Wilson that I never thought I would own. This is very cool. This is one I really like. And talking about Pokemon, this is a 1999 Fossil Articuno PSA 8 first edition. And the cool thing about this one is I've actually played games with this. I've had this for several years. I had it in a deck with a Blastoise, like a Blastoise deck. Nice. And I actually have played games with this. And so I dug it out. I sent it to PSA 5-day. And I expected to get a 6 or a 7, and I got an 8 on it.
So how's that work at a tournament? Do you just have to shuffle all your PSA slabs to play?
Yeah. I'm gonna put together the whole deck now. I sent everything out now. This is a cool one. So I have a local LCS that I've been getting some hobby product from when I'm in a bind and need stuff. And they said, like, hey, this dude watches your show or watches your channel, and he dropped these off and asked if you wanted a trade. He just looks for some basketball. And so it's a 2004 Felix Hernandez first Bowman Chrome X-Fractor. Yeah, now a Baltimore Oriole. Don't say that. And so I don't know what I'm going to trade for this yet. But, I'm kind of in love with this. I was waiting for, like, a really nice one to come up. And when one just kind of falls in your hands, you just kind of take it. Other stuff, I don't really have too much. I mostly, like, rip a lot and keep some stuff for my PC. I thought these cards were just the coolest. This is the T-Mall Status T-Mall Zion, and this is the upper echelon insert. And so I really love the look of this card. It's not coming through on the webcam, but it has kind of like a nebula pattern. If you've ever seen the nebula in Prism, it kind of has that. So I'm probably gonna try and get as close to the rainbow as I can. Some of the numbered ones are gonna get really expensive. And then I've just been adding some random Kobe's to my collection. I really love this one. I think this is like the 55, 56 from like Topps from like 07, 08, I think, something like that. I could be way off. Yeah. And then I always add just random LeBrons, and I really like this LeBron from Hoops Premium, just a silver. So I've just been adding random stuff. I never really, the thing about me when I collect is I really care a lot about card aesthetic. I don't really care too much about card value. So to me, that Zion looks better than like his Prism rookie card, right? I actually don't even have one of his Prism rookie cards. I pulled like 14 of them and I sold all of them. So I don't even have one of those at the moment. But yeah, I buy cards based off aesthetic, like that I really like. So I'm kind of weird like that. Like I don't care about the value so much. Like my favorite DK Metcalf card that I own is actually the Genesis from Mosaic. I actually pulled that for somebody in a break, and it's the only card that I've ever pulled for somebody in a break that I said, like, you have to sell this to me. Like, I need this card. So that one's off at PSA right now, and I have some other PC stuff off there that I can't even remember. But yeah,
that's
adding to my.
I like seeing. I mean, to have the Russ Wilson fall in your lap like that, I mean, that's a deal you have to make all the time, right? I mean, like that's super cool.
Yeah, it's not much dissimilar to my Tyson Chicken Kirby Puckett.
There you go.
So it's like, hey, come talk to me after the show. We'll make a deal. Here's the team set.
So let's get into it. The week that was last week's releases. Topps Living Week 151. We have card 383, Eric Hosmer, first baseman, San Diego Padres, and card 384, Dylan Bundy, pitcher, Los Angeles Angels. There were no updates on Topps.com on those numbers, but two veteran players. And then 2020 Leaf Metal Baseball came out as well. Hot off the presses, this week's new releases. Topps Living Week 152. We had card 385, Dontrell Willis. The Florida Marlins. If anybody was watching baseball in the late 90s and watched Dontrell come up and play, and they got him from the Tigers, right? He was a minor league. Or no, I'm sorry, the Cubs. I think he was a Cubs minor leaguer that came over. I could have that wrong, but Dontrell came up and was just hit the hit the. I mean, he just showed up and he blew up. Right, he was awesome. Right off the bat, and he had that crazy pitching style. He always kind of reminded me, and Ben might be able to talk about like Vida Blue, right? Like that pitching style that Vida had, kind of like he was in Louis Tion, but and also kind of like a left-handed Louis Tion because he had that his style was pretty unique. And then we have card 386, Joe Adell, rookie outfielder, Los Angeles Angels, the first rookie of the 2021 Topps Living release. So
two things to note here. One, yes, D-Train did get picked up from the Cubs. 8th round selection out of the 2000 draft, not the late 90s.
That's right.
But he went 14-6, 3.30 ERA, first season up. The year they won the series, actually. 03. And how stacked was that team for for rookies between him and Miggy?
Yeah, I remember that year very vividly. And I remember you just heard whispers before he made the major leagues, and obviously it's very hard to watch minor league games back then. And so I just remember, man, the Marlins have this pitcher. He throws 100 miles an hour, and he has a weird pitching. Like, he's crazy. He's going to be the next thing. And yeah, I loved watching him on the Marlins.
Yep. And I like that team because D-Lee was on there, and they won the series. So it's a good week. See, I like this, like a former, like kind of fan favorite type of guy that everybody kind of has a memory of. It was kind of, he played a long time, but he was only dominant for the first portion of his career. And then a guy up and coming we've heard a lot about, who's like, it's not surprising because Topps, it showed his flagship rookie as like the card when they were talking about 2021 Topps. When that came out, his rookie card was the one they kind of showed off as what it would look like, the design and everything. So good to see that.
Well, and then the note that was passed on that with it being Black History Month, somebody was thinking that, hey, you've got a young talent that's coming up, and D. Willis, who is one of the quote-unquote black aces, African-American pitcher who has over 20 wins. So you got like Mudcat Grant, amongst others in the group. And with it being the first week in February. whether it's coincidence or not.
And that Joe Adele, man, that is a slick looking card. His beard, I mean, the artwork on that Adele is just ridiculous. I saw that today. I was like, yeah, you know, we've seen some other ones like Mike Fires and stuff that had a lot of facial hair, but I mean, that is just amazing. That's a good
And
card.
why is it now
looks
that I'm
great.
looking at their necks all the time?
Yeah.
Since the Garrett Cole Tucker.
Mhm.
Yeah.
I mean, the
I'm not-
Jodo looks great, but
I'm not-
the Dontrell looks like I don't know. I don't know what happened, man.
Well,
The
it's Jared-
shady
That's
dog.
the other artist.
It's Jared Kelly's third
Uh,
trip to the living set. I'm not a fan of his. They don't fit. The
No.
Garrett Cole was okay. It looks like it might have been the same artist, but you can definitely tell there's a stark difference between the two. And argue that hey, if this is what keeps it alive, great. But for me, I'm just not a fan of this new style, and it kind of waters down the set. A set that's already kind of dying or was dead on arrival a long time ago. You can't tell me Project 70 is not going to bury this set even further.
Yeah. Then I had the smart thought today to decide if I wanted to go back and build the entire living set, and I don't know. So I need to be talked off the ledge after the show. 2021 Panini Hoops basketball drop today. 400 and so maybe 450 a box. 24 packs, 8 cards per pack. You're gonna get. I didn't put that in the notes. What's gonna happen in the pack? So give me a sec here.
2 autographs. I know
You're gonna
that.
2 autos, 24 inserts.
You get a bunch of good stuff.
retail.
2 autographs and 24 inserts and or parallels. Yep. And then
Retail boxes,
there's all
1
kinds of
auto,
releases for
24
it.
You'll get some
insert.
cards and then some more cards that'll cost way more than it needs to be, and you'll have a negative return value like always, and you can bitch and moan about it on Twitter and
or Facebook. It's a 270 card base set, 200 veterans, 50 rookies, 20 hoops tributes, which are gorgeous because they're the 1990-91 design, which is the first year I started collecting basketball. That silver with like the key. You have 26 different parallels.
This one.
Which is awesome. There's 6 different ways to get cards: a hobby box, a retail box, a blaster, winter blasters, gravity feed packs, and fat packs. This is the first packaged rookie cards with the rookies in their NBA jerseys. NBA art signatures have on-card autographs, so that's kind of nice. There's hobby exclusive inserts. It's the high voltage City Edition courtside prime twine. And retail-only inserts arriving now. Class of 2020 frequent flyers jersey swatch. Nameplates, which I thought was pretty cool. It's like the personalized license plate. Slam, lights, camera, action. You showed the LaMelo Ball rookie card, and it does aesthetically, like James is talking about, aesthetics. He looks odd in the picture. It looks like he's like, I don't know, like his legs, like what's going on with his legs?
This
he looks like Gumby.
Like you can't stand like that.
Yeah.
Oh,
I
man,
mean,
I can't unsee Gumby now.
you got the little green bendy, right? And where's Pokey? I mean, and even that off color, it looks like a Gumby that sat outside by the pool all summer, and it got faded. And
there's something very inherently childish about this set, and I think that it's like the yes.
For those listening at home, there was a fantastic Gumby. Gumby made his About the Cards appear his debut. Long time listener, first time appearer.
There's something very inherently just about like the way the colors are. The backdrop's been removed with a dark blue, and maybe it's just the light blue in this one, but it looks almost kind of like it should be like a set geared towards kids, like a Panini kids set. It just doesn't. It doesn't scream hoops to me.
No, the nameplate is like.
It seems like something you're going to go grab at the Dollar Tree, right? You're going to go grab your Panini Onward sticker book, and you're going to grab a couple packs of NBA hoops. And
before this all blew up, Hoops is totally a product I've picked up at Dollar Tree before. Okay.
Yes.
Sure.
So
Yeah, sure.
it's meant for that.
Yeah.
It doesn't, like, I was talking to a buddy today about collecting baskets, and Hoops just doesn't hold value. Like Tyrese Halliburton, the Kings rookie, is doing really well this year. He's playing like very good basketball, but he's not having, like, his stats aren't crazy. $30 for a Hoops rookie.
Yeah.
Like on a good day, that should be a $10 card, because even like the guys from last year, if you go back and look, even like the Zion Hoops card, right? I want to say that's probably in like the 20-some.
Yep. Doing
right.
The pose, yeah, 25. Yeah. I just bought my last 2 for 25 last month.
Yeah, and so that, and he and Ja are like in the same bucket, and then it's everybody else's after that. So, guys, just kind of pace yourselves on this again. Be wary.
You know what? It's okay, looks like,
but
you remember the old Sports Illustrated where they had the 9 cards that were in there with the perforated edges?
Yeah.
That's what this looks like, right? If you would open up a Sports Illustrated in 1992 and this NBA Hoops was your 9 cards or 6 cards in there that you'd have to rip out, this is what it looks like. I mean, these look like cereal box cards, you know?
Some of the inserts were kind of cool. Like I said, you know, you had the license plate one. It had some good looks to it. I mean, some of the retail inserts were pretty cool. But again, I don't know. It doesn't make me want to dance. But I want to know, guys, who do you think is going to be? I stole this from Mojo, so sorry, guys. Who's going to be the most coveted rookie for the 2021 season in basketball? James, do you have a guy that you think is going to be the one everybody's going to be after?
I have a dark horse. Not playing up to maybe not playing up to expectations right now. Playing in a very tough crowd who can just be harsh. Playing for a franchise where I've openly said, like, I don't think their franchise is going to be good anytime soon. And I don't think they've done anything right in a very long time. But my dude, honestly, when I saw him on draft and saw him how humble he was and his personality, I got to go with Obi Toppin as a real dark horse. I think the kid has a good head on his shoulders. Big kid playing in New York, which is like a perfect, if he can get some time there, if he can make the team about him, that's just a huge opportunity for him just to blow his stock up. So I got to go with Obi Toppin. If it's not going to be LaMelo, and all signs right now point to LaMelo as like the clear-cut number one, the one out of the 3 ball kids who is actually going to be superstar in the league. If it's not going to be him, I got to go with Obi Toppin because I like everything that I've seen so far.
So you're going with the UD crowd. Angela will love that pick.
Wow.
My answer, and I think it was in the show notes, was anybody but Anthony Edwards. Because the Timberwolves don't know how to draft pick.
Anthony Bennett.
But he was clearly the first pick, though, right? Like, we're not wrong on that because Weissman wouldn't have fit on their team with Towns. You're just duplicating it. And maybe LaMelo, but again, you have D. Russell, and I don't think those 2 guys would have been the best backcourt combo either. So
Ball was probably the number 1 pick, and I think it's one of those ones where you take the talent over the fit, and you figure it out on the back end, even if that means moving somebody. But I think this is just
then you have, but you got to look at the dynamics because Towns wanted Russell really bad to be his teammate, and they want to be there together. So if you bring in Ball to get rid of Russell, then Towns has to go too because he's not going to be happy.
It's when you trade the pick then. But
if nobody wants it,
well, that's the problem.
You have to have a trade partner. If nobody wants it, then what do you do?
The problem with this draft is your top 3, 4, 5 guys in the draft were all number 4 overall picks, right?
Yeah,
5th overall picks. They're just there. It was like the year that Anthony Bennett came out. There was no clear-cut number 1 at that time. In hindsight,
I knew Giannis. I knew Giannis.
Yeah,
was going to be a stud.
Yeah, everybody knew Giannis. That's why they're like, you know what? Let's just let him slide a little bit. It's fine. But there was no clear-cut talent. Yeah, there's going to be top talent out of this draft. We just don't know who yet. Yeah.
So Ben, who's your guy? Who are you excited?
Yeah, I'm watching him right now. I really wish the Spurs would have grabbed him. He went the next pick to the Kings. It's got to be Halliburton.
Yeah.
I think he's got a solid future. I
was watching the draft.
I think that the concern again was I was just gonna say that the big concern was how does he fit with De'Aaron Fox, and it's like I think you just, especially for a Morbin franchise like the Kings, you take the talent, you figure it out. They're not in a position to be drafting for need, and I like the dynamics of that backcourt.
Yeah, I do too. He kind of reminds me of like could be a better version of a Doug Christie.
Yeah, I mean, if his defense is there,
yeah, you know,
I mean,
but
Doug
he has.
Christie
I mean, yeah,
Christie was ridiculous.
Yeah. I had LaMelo on there. I was just looking at like some of the. If you want, go to basketballreference.com and just look up the rookie stats and see what's going on there. I mean, right now Anthony Edwards is the rookie scoring leader at 13 points a game. Emmanuel Quickly for the Knicks is averaging 12. You got LaMelo at 12 and Weissman at 12, and Cole Anthony at 11, and Halliburton's at 10.7. After that, those six, you have six guys in this rookie class averaging double digits. That's it. I don't think anybody is Weissman leads rebounds at 6 rebounds a game, and LaMelo's averaging 6 assists and 6 rebounds a game. I mean, they're good stats, but it's not like when you had, it's not LeBron, Bosh, Wade, right? It's in Anthony. It's not that draft. And I just imagine if there was a draft, those 4 guys were drafted this year, what the price of this hoops box would be like. I don't know, $10,000. Who knows? But you know, to me, I think we're just too excited because we think that there's going to be these LeBron. And I kind of want everybody to pump the brakes because if you look like the 4th overall pick, what was his Patrick
Williams
Williams that went to the Bulls. He's averaging 9 points and 3 boards on Obi Toppin's averaging. I mean, and I like him too. He's got 4.5 points and a couple boards a game. It's just these guys haven't had the opportunity or I don't know. I just think that just pump the brakes a little bit. Maybe that'll. I don't know.
I think last year's rookie class had so many guys that kind of broke out too. That this just, other than LaMelo, the whole class feels underwhelming, right? Like it wasn't at first. It was just like John Zion, but then that blossomed into Kobe White's good, R.J. Barrett's good, Cam Reddish starting to come around. And then you just had some dark horses from last year that just emerged. So, I mean, last year...
Kyle Guy.
Yeah, Kyle Guy. Bull, the 7-foot Steph Curry.
Yeah.
Last year's draft class was not just very good, but it was also very fun with all these project players. And you don't know who's going to break out once they get minutes. You don't know who's going to be a project player. You just don't know enough about any of these players right now.
Yeah, that's true. All I gotta say is Azubuike that's playing for the Jazz. He was a KU. That guy we're gonna look back in a couple years and go, why didn't he get drafted higher? He's not gonna be an all-star. He's gonna be one of those big guys that eats minutes and plays well. And I think people are gonna go, man, just as a team building piece, he's one of those guys. I was a big Fred Van Vliet fan when he was playing at Wichita State with Ron Baker. Those 2 guys could ball, and the fact that Fred didn't get drafted, kind of shows he went off for 54 last night or something. Yeah, I love that kid, and he's one of those guys, man. You just don't know, and you have guys like Anthony Bennett going number 1 who are in and out of the league. So that was our one new release for this week. Make sure you're checking out Ryan Cracknell's articles on Beckett.com/news for more details on these releases. Next week, Topps Series 1 2021 comes out, and also Donruss Optic football drops. So a couple big ones coming out. I know I'm going to nerd out next week. If you don't like baseball, don't show up next week because I'm just going to nerd out on Series 1. We're going to deep dive into that. So let's hop in Infield Chatter, our Hobby Talk section of the show. You guys have some Canadian TV stars with you tonight. On Monday, CHC Digital Television of Virtual Channel 11, an independent station in Hamilton, Ontario, Canada, and also Niagara, reached out. Phil Perkins interviewed Steph and I about the crazy card market, like legitimately within like 45 minutes of a DM and stuff. I was doing it in the car because I was like I was working, and when he wanted to do, I was like fine. So I pulled over and I did it in the parking lot, and we were on TV. in Canada.
6 and 11 o'clock broadcasts.
Yeah. And then, I got to share something here, too. We talked about this before, but I'm going to share this video real quick here. Your boy. I'm famous in Japan now as well.
We've gone international.
Yeah. The best part is when I'm talking and then the guy dubs my voice in Japanese, which I thought was super cool. Yeah. So there's that. I had to show that part. That was my favorite. It's like a 9-minute video. Send me a DVD. I'm going to upload it to the YouTube channel for About the Cards this weekend. So you'll have to check that out and be on there. And you can roast me all you want, but it was fun. It was an all-day experience for 9 minutes. An all-day experience for 9 minutes, and it was tiring. Like, I don't know how those people do reality shows for their lives.
Having lived there, it's really interesting to see their production. Everything is either super animated or really exaggerated as far as excitement. Really, they're almost like the perfect breaker.
And I have to say thank you to Ben Aguirre at Cardboard Icons, because the guy that did the interview and set all this up originally reached out to Ben, and Ben couldn't do a scheduling thing, and he gave him my name and said, hey, if you're in California, that my buddy's up there, and we started talking and made it happen. So I want to say thanks to Ben for that. That was again why he's the best Ben in the hobby. So I appreciate Mr. Aguirre for that. I can see
that. Absolutely. He's a hobby legend.
He is. He's a hobby icon, right? I mean, Cardboard Icons. And, dude, he's been posting these pictures of all these Hall of Fame baseball players card that he had Hank Aaron the other day and Jackie Ryan. And I just was like, dude, I am very jealous of you. And he goes, I'm jealous of your organization. I said, well, let me come use my organization, and then I can take some of your Hall of Fame cards. Like, anyway, Tatis is number one. At Cut4 tweeted out number one card in the 2021 set is Tatis Jr., Fernando Tatis Jr. See what other players joins. And there was an awesome video that they put out of all the number one cards. Yeah, if you can share that, it's pretty quick.
1 second. Boopity boop boop.
And I want to know, the thing is, Mantle never had a number one card. He was never the first card in any of the sets. Like, it's pretty cool. I mean, it goes through and you see a lot of Ted Williams. You have some of the league leaders. You had a couple commissioners, Willie Mays, some teams, world champions. They did that for a while. All-time home run leaders. When Hank was on the chase. I liked when they let it off the batting average. Brett had a couple of those. Pete Rose. Record breakers in the late 80s. We all remember that. Nolan Ryan had a few year run there. They did some All-Stars. Here we go, the terrible 2000s. Oh, my God, the ugliest cards ever made. Ugly. Okay, we're starting to get okay. Bryce Harper, so some young players now. Mike Trout, Derek Jeter, Ben Trout, Chris Bryant, Judge, Acuna Jr., Mike Trout again, and this year Tatis. And how is Trout not the first one all of the time? That's what it should be. But also it should be, we should go back to the 70s, and I will slam that. I will fight people over this. This is a hill I would die on. It should always be the World Series champions. Or a caveat, you start off with the league leaders for batting average, and you have the NL and the AL winners of those on there, and you work through, and you have the big, but
top
guys,
three, top five, sure.
Yeah, like, who should be the first card of a Topps flagship release every season?
World Series champions.
Yeah,
I'd like to see the league leaders.
Though that could be card 2 through 7 or whatever, right? I mean,
so we all kind of agree. The one thing is that we won't have to worry about the Mariners having the first card.
Heyo.
2022 in Jerry DePoto we trust.
Yes.
How about
you know what though? I like what they're doing. I like what they're doing up there. Right? They have these young guys. I mean, the fact that what they did to the Mets a couple of years ago when they traded Cano, that should be illegal.
This hat
Like-
will be a Washington Nationals hat if Mitch Haniger gets traded this season. I'm done. Like my PC dude gets traded. I'm on the Juan Soto train to championship town, baby.
Juan's a pretty decent player. Anyway, so I thought that was a super cool video. Topps put this out. Topps Series 1 printing issues. A printing error has been uncovered in the 2021 Topps Baseball Series 1 base card parallels. The Platinum Anniversary numbered to 770 and the 70th Anniversary parallel numbered 1 out of 1 have printed using the same ink colors and patterns. The cards have been sequentially numbered to the correct quantities, 70 and or 1, respectively, and we corrected this error for future iterations of our flagship brand. We apologize for any confusion this may have caused with our collectors. So,
A production error from Topps? What a shock.
Yeah, but
it's shocking that they actually said something.
Yeah, they
that they
messed
came
up
out
to
publicly.
before it releases. What the?
You know there's going to be a thread somewhere about this where the dude orders a 101 platinum off eBay and then he sends back the 70 and refunds it. Like, somebody's going to send back that. That's going to happen.
Well, yeah, and my thing is on this though, but like it's weird, like who's running the Topps account that put this out, because they would normally just like I want to go, hey, we're the wood beneath from 18 Allen and Ginter.
Right.
While you're being so honest, yeah,
Just
let
look
us.
at the DMs. Come on.
So they were what they call the kids calling out spilling the tea. I don't know.
That was the press release of it was the biggest shock. Not that
Yeah.
there's an issue, and things happen, right?
And that's fine,
the
but I was surprised they told us.
Yeah.
It's like, oh yeah, it's like when you're on your your diet and you sneak out and you grab Whataburger or In-N-Out or whatever, and then you don't tell your wife about it because you don't want her to know, and you just kind of like make sure the mustard's not on on your beard somewhere. So,
Man.
by the way, Ryan Cracknell did some math. He tweeted this out, not including any parallels or unlisted stuff that we're not aware of. And this also doesn't include any relics or autographs. For Series 1, there are 2,028 individual cards,
Ooh.
inserts, and base cards.
See, they really should have worked that out so there was only 21 different cards.
Heyo.
Hey,
So close.
I got into it with somebody on Twitter the other day because I was like,
Oh, shocking.
I'm saying how you could look at any random checklist right now and not and with a straight face say this is not a modern day junk wax oversaturation, over flooding the market. We're wrapped up in overproduction, and he's like 2,000 cards. That includes parallels, and I'm like, no, it doesn't. I was like, to make one base card of just the 330 base cards to fulfill all of the parallels, the listed parallels, that does not include the rainbow foil and the gold foil, it was over 800,000 cards. Okay, so now with the listed pack odds, in order to fulfill that, you're looking at close to 1 billion cards of just flagship Series 1.
I love it.
Because you'd have to, in order to get the 2021 cards, you're going to have enough base cards, right? And there's a falling like what, 2 a jumbo or something like that nowadays.
Yep.
So if you have the same at Series 2 and the same at Update, you're looking at probably somewhere in the 3 to 4 billion range just for those 3 releases, and that's just baseball.
Well,
So even if
it's funny. Okay.
I was just going to say, even if you look at the 5 major companies of 1990, right? Topps, Fleer, Donruss, Score, and Upper Deck. If every single card in just the base cards were 5 million each, you're looking at, I forget what the math was. It was like 80 billion cards or something like that. And Upper Deck wasn't probably printing that many. It's like you're gonna get to 100 billion cards this year, easy. And people think that the word junk wax is a dirty word that means they don't have any worth, which is not true. It just defines an era like oldies music as 50s and 60s music, right? It's just a term and not specific. It shouldn't have a negative connotation, but the bottom line is we are absolutely just seeing an overproduction with artificial scarcity, artificial markets left and right, with a right ledger trajectory on everything, how long do we think that's sustainable? Newsflash, it's not.
Well, and real quick, with the base set normally for Series 1 and 2 is 350 cards. This year, Series 1's 330 cards. So it's 20 less cards than the last handful of years that have been released.
Well, and that's the interesting thing. So because you mentioned it, I just punched the number. Whoa, hey, I don't know what's going on there. Sorry for anybody that is epileptic, but
I'm not.
Again.
Okay,
there we go. So I ran for everything that we know a listed quantity for. So that's the gold parallels number to 2020, the advanced stats to 300, the vintage stock to 99s, the Independence Day to 76, the blacks to 69 for last year, Father's Day blue, Mother's Day hot pink, Memorial Day camo, clear, platinum, and the 4 printing plates. That is just under 2,700 cards per card. Now, last year there was what, 700 cards?
Yeah.
You're pushing just shy of 2 million. And that's
just
without
version.
That's without all of the silver foil, gold foil, purple Meyer, the yellow Walmart hangers, and anything else.
Yeah, any short prints, super short prints. And that's just the base. That's just the base parallels. That's not all your hits and your autos and your relics.
There's a lot.
You're talking. I mean, if we hit 5 billion between Series 1, Series 2, and Update, and when somebody says no, you're wrong, it's like literally sit down and look at a checklist, dissect it, do the math, and you will be absolutely astounded at how many cards are coming out of just flagship baseball for their 3 releases. 5 billion is not unattainable, And then you look at. And then Prism football and Prism baseball, Panini Prism, they're going to do that on their own. With their 83,000 parallels. I mean, it's ridiculous.
So a couple of things. We're going to talk next week about Topps and more about Series 1. But again, just be wary of this is another product where you don't want to pay for overpriced on retail stuff. You want to pay the going market at a Target, Walmart, Fred Meyer, wherever you're shopping, the $20 or $22 a blaster, whatever it might be, your hanger packs, the value boxes, whatever they're going to come out with, don't pay over what you could buy it at a Target for, because this product is not going to be like a flipper's delight. Now we're going to get like we talked last week, Fool's Gold. I always like flagship, and I overpaid a little bit for the case I'm going to open, but again, it's the one product I really open every year. And it's only I get to open product 3 times a year, really, and that's what it's going to be. I had one of my buddies on Twitter reach out at the Bill Scott. He goes, I'm trying to understand this. He's a Diamondbacks fan. He goes, understanding the D-backs aren't great this year. How does Topps decide who's on the checklist? It seems bizarre to me. A guy like Nick Ahmed doesn't have a card, or Mad Bum, or David Peralta, while Stephen Vogt does. Just not sure how it all works. And the way I kind of explained it to him is that they have to fill a set of, right now, 330 guys for this set and next set and an update set. And each team's got to have about, I think the lowest number was 8 guys. And I think the team was eight cards, and the most was the Dodgers with 20, but they have some World Series cards in there. But what they have to do is, if they know like a guy's a free agent or could be traded, they're going to put them in Series 1 so they can get one last card out of them on that team. And then they can make a second card in either Series 2 or Update of that player. So it's really, they get to double dip, and it makes it easy for them. They know that like Mad Bum and Ahmed and Peralta are probably going to be on the team for this full year, so they can move some of the names on that team to Series 2, and with a team that doesn't have a lot of star power. Like Alex Gordon. We know he retired before, like the set was, like we knew he was retiring, but he's got a card in Series 1, even though we know he's retired. But they get one more card from him. They can squeeze just a little bit more juice out of him to have an extra card. And that's kind of what they do. I just want to know if you guys had a better explanation behind that, or wanted to add something that maybe I missed. But that's what I think the reason behind it is. I mean, half of Ben's Ace team's not even on the team. His team set, they're like all gone.
Yeah, there's 11 on the base set. And now that Soria signed with Arizona, 4 of them at last count are not with the team. And I had made a comment why, I forget where the comment was on Twitter, but Susie had basically responded that there are too many free agents. My thought was, why not hold these guys back till Series 2 to make sure that they re-sign with the team? Because back in 2011, I had just gotten back into the hobby in 2010, and there was a mass exodus of free agents going into 2011, and the majority of the team, all of the hits were Gio Gonzalez and Trevor Cahill, and these guys are now gone. And it's like, it's kind of depressing. And you save the jokes or whatever about the A's franchise, but there are a few teams out there, the Pirates this year, the A's obviously, that aren't going to be signing free agents, that are going to have a really bad checklist and make it really tough. And not cry for Ben, but what about cry for the new guy who just got into the hobby, or new woman who just got into the hobby, who became a Pirates fan or an A's fan, and they're looking at this checklist for the first time. They've been in the hobby for less than a year, and they're excited about flagship, and half the team is gone. I mean, that sucks. And Susie's point was there's too many free agents to hold all of them back for Series 2, so you're kind of stuck. And like to your point, Shep, you got to fill out let's assume it's 330 times 3. You've got to fill out a 990 card set. Update's going to have a lot of the rookies that are coming up and a lot of all-star cards and whatnot in a traditional year. So yeah, that first 660, you're going to have a lot of guys that were on the team last year that are no longer there.
At least the Rangers have more than one card.
This is true.
What about if Nolan Arenado or Francisco Lindor, franchise? I mean, let's go with Arenado because he had signed a massive contract. Lindor was a free agent to be. But Arenado on the Rockies in Series 1, sure, he's your superstar. He's going to be there for the next, half decade or more. Whoops. Yeah, it's like
you can't help trades and stuff like that with the free agency. But again, it's just they got to fill it, so they're going to use guys they know they can double dip on, and it stinks, but that's just kind of the way it is. And Series 2 gets that fix or update, and again, that's why it's called update. They're updating the other set, right? So there's more Topps Living to be out there. Trader Cracks Ryan Crackle tweeted out, considered Topps WWE set to be official. They just sent an e-blast. It started on, and I think that was on like Thursday or Friday, and then boom, on the 1st, there it was, Topps Living WWE. The first card was Stone Cold Steve Austin, and then you have Trish Status card number 2. Yeah, Stone Cold Stone. I was on ice cream. I don't know.
Yeah.
But is this a set that people are not going to pay attention to that you should get in on? I don't know wrestling. Like, I know the names and stuff, but I haven't watched it since I was a little kid, and there was the WCW and the WWF back in the day. But is this a set that people should get into?
I will say they've made I'm context. I'm a huge wrestling nerd. They started off good with 2 superstars that people really love and adore. But I think that once this set starts getting into the newer guys that nobody knows if you're not watching, it's like, who wants a Baron Corbin Topps Living set? Or like just one of these guys that are just a guy now. A lot of the characters in wrestling just aren't as memorable as, the 80s, let alone the 90s, a height when everybody was watching it. So I think there is an opportunity here for these 2 cards in particular. I'm going to pick them up. I was like really wrestling with this. Like, do I want to start this set? Because I ran with the Living set up to card like 180 before I just kind of burned out on it. So I knew that I wasn't just going to continue doing it. I don't really collect wrestling cards, even though I watch a ton of wrestling. I do think that I am going to pick up a couple copies of each of these, maybe even do the 5-pack. I haven't looked to see if they're available in 5-pack. I assume so. But other than that, like, I don't think a lot of these cards, other than 1 and 2, because of who the wrestlers are, I think there is a chance that these become iconic. But even now, you look at the Aaron Judge number 1 from Topps Living set, and that's not a super expensive card.
No, I looked today. It's about,
is it like $14, 15, or is
14 to 30, just depending if it's graded or not.
Yep.
My thing is that do they own the license to The Rock and to China and to some of those like superstars like Hulk? like
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan and Macho Man, and
They own certain ones. Certain ones, you know, if the wrestler it was smart enough to trademark their own stuff and not give up their copyright to WWE, then yes, they can use their name outside of WWE. But like Trish Stratus, if she ever wanted to go do something with like AEW or like any other wrestling promotion, she would have to get permission. They would likely say no, and she'd have to go by like her real name or some kind of fake, like it's close, but not, you know, like Cold Stone, you know, if Steve Austin, you know, Cold Stone Steve Williams, you know, if he wanted to go to AEW and do something.
So, but baseball has the players union, and a lot of these players fall under that. So some of these guys have their rights. We were talking about this the other day with, you know, I had asked our buddy James Kikowski about, you know, the Negro Leagues now being identified as part of Major League Baseball. Who owns those rights, and whether or not we would see more Negro League players in future releases? Are we going to start seeing Josh Gibson cards? And you know, he had a great point. He's like, if they do that, if they did this just as a money grab, shame on them, and they should be sued every which way that they can. But my thought was just like, and somebody had asked me, who owns those rights? Can we see Topps Living cards of Josh Gibson and all of these other Negro League stars? Probably not. With wrestling, so many of these individuals have passed away. You know, obviously, you know, Tim just said, you know, China, for instance, and Macho Man. A lot of these guys and gals are gone.
Andre the Giant,
So
Bulldog.
a lot of it depends
Warrior.
on legal rights and all that stuff aside. For me personally, and I've heard this from a couple of people, Topps Living Stat was mentioning it, how they just look cartoony. They just look more Garbage Pail Kid than Topps Living. And my first thought when this was announced a couple of weeks ago, you know, how many wrestlers? I mean, baseball has 20,000 names they can pull from. You know, how many wrestlers are there if you're doing 2 a week? And he's like, well, you know, if you get 600 names, you can have this last for. This might be able to last for 5 years, but at 5 years, how thin do the names get at that point?
Well, no, you get the Hulkster, and then you get Hollywood Hogan, and
well,
I don't
know.
know.
Mick Foley had like umpteen different characters, and it's a lot of it depends on
Undertaker back and forth.
Yeah,
You're going to have multiple.
Yep.
You're going to have multiple iterations of the same guy, but also I think that there's legitimately, you think about like all the old wrestlers, everything that WWE owns, because they bought up a lot of intellectual property rights. They could conceivably do like over 1,000 different guys before they start getting into variations. Now the question becomes, you're doing 2 cards a week. Who really wants like, you know, maybe Raven from WCW is cool, but he has like a whole group of guys that nobody cares about. Who wants the Lodi card? You know, who is a flack, just a lackey in his little group. Who wants the Kurgan from the oddities from WWF in 1998? Like, you know, maybe Earthquake is cool. You know, Earthquake from the early
The natural
90s.
disasters. Yeah, that's who I want, and I want Hacksaw.
He was in 1998. He was under a mask. He called him Golga, and he wore a South Park shirt. Like who wants these cards? Who's gonna buy these cards? So the problem for me comes is, like I said, with the newer guys, nobody wants a Baron Corbin Topps Living Set card. Like, you only have so many iconic guys in wrestling, and I think you're gonna burn out on those far quicker than the general pool of talent.
Well, if you guys want a subscription, what?
I was just gonna say, if you compare wrestling to Star Wars, the Star Wars universe is extremely deep. And there's my dad's been collecting that whole set, and he's like, there's a lot of cards that, as big of a fan as he is and was of the original 3, there's so many that are from the cartoons and the Clone Wars and this and that and some of the books. And a lot of these characters are unknown to the casual Star Wars fan. Mm-hmm. So my thought would be the same thing, depending on, you know, how deep you try to get into this catalog. Do you do some of the great tag teams? You know, can you do a dual card? I mean, it's their own rules, right? It just depends on if they have, the names licensed, how they want to do it. But I think this is going to fall by the wayside sooner rather than later. It's not going to be. We're not going to be talking about this set 3 years from now.
I give it a year tops with all of the legendaries and Childhood favorites. I would go with a year.
So I have two questions for the set. One, do we see a dual release on a single week of Mankind and Mr. Sacco?
Yeah, that'd be but why not limit this? To Angela's point, why not limit this to 200 cards, 300 cards, right? 250 cards.
Because then it's not a living set.
Which is the set.
But yeah,
And then second of all, do we see a living of?
It's a classic, man.
She's not wrestling though.
She was in the
She is
WWE
now.
briefly.
Well, so was Donald Trump and Jose Canseco. So I mean,
Yeah.
are we going to see a Jose?
May as well
Canseco?
include them. Have a
Kevin
celebrity
Green.
week.
I will be the first to buy the Drew Carey Topps Living Set card.
Yes. I will
So if
give
you
you
want-
that.
If you want a subscription list, Topps is offering subscriptions for the Living Set and Throwback Thursday. A year's worth of cards. You have to be signed into your account to access the page. You authorize Topps to charge you $10.99 each week for the subscription for the Topps Living. And Blake kind of told us last week this could be a possibility with Project 70. It comes out with this. Would you sign up for? It doesn't have to be one of Topps Living or Project 70 or Throwback Thursday. If there's one of those sets that you're collecting weekly, is that something you would sign up for to automatically know you don't have to go back in and remember to purchase it?
If I was actively chasing a set, yes.
Okay.
Or you get like a year subscription to all of Topps On Demand, not On Demand, but what's the seasonal release daily?
Topps Now.
Topps Now. Sure.
Topps Now is perfect, right? I want all of
I want a
the
team of Topps now.
whatever team it is, and the only reason that they wouldn't do that, obviously, because there's no way for them to be able to, the A's like right at the beginning of last season had like 10 in like 2 weeks, and then they went like 4 weeks without a single card.
Yeah.
And that they're going to make a ton of the Yankees. Remember when 2017 Topps Now, Aaron Judge was getting a card every day.
He sneezed and got a card.
Yeah, Aaron Judge is chewing gum, and that's why they wouldn't do one for Topps Now. Even though I think that the subscription based would be perfect for that program.
Yeah. So we haven't touched on Topps Living, just baseball by the numbers, real quick. I just was going through some of the stuff today. The top 5 teams. The Yankees are number 1 overall with 21. The Dodgers come in second with 18. The Braves and A's are tied at third for 17. Surprisingly, the number 5 team in this set, I'll each give you guys a guess. Who do you think the number 5 team is? I know Steph's probably going to look at the notes, but who do you think the number 5 overall team would be?
I'll tell you, it should be somebody like the New York / San Francisco Giants.
It's not.
I would have said, I'm looking at the notes, but I would have said Boston.
Boston.
Boston,
Steph?
yeah. Boston would have been maybe my guess.
The San Diego Padres have 16 fucking cards. And one is because they had like 4 rookies or 5 rookies last year, and I think in the set. Bottom 5 teams. Last place, the Texas Rangers have 8.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been going on
Topps hates
since
the Rangers.
2018, 18, 19, 20.
And the Expos nearly have as many.
They have 2. And they haven't played. They haven't been the Expos in how long? Now there's a bunch of teams tied after this with 10.
Years.
Arizona Diamondbacks, Baltimore Orioles. By the way, the Orioles have been around forever, and they were the St. Louis Browns before. Colorado Rockies, Detroit Tigers. Okay, they were one of the first franchises. The Royals, the Milwaukee Brewers, all tied with 10. You have 2 of the all-time franchises, the Orioles and the Tigers, with 10, with all the rest expansion teams.
So equally, I threw together a list for Series 1. And much like mine and James's pick, Boston's actually at the bottom. They only have 7 cards.
Yeah, but they're not good at.
Rangers have 8.
bad year
Dodgers,
last year.
I think we hit on, had 20.
Look at the Royals up there with 12.
7 Red Sox. How?
20. No team deserves 20 in a.
Well, hey, Ben, about 5 or 6 of those though are World Series related cards,
Sure.
or
Well, yeah,
or like a league. I mean, there's a team card, there's the World Series cards, and I think there's like a league leader or 2 card. I think that they had. So
Okay,
I
but
think
who
it's
wants
like
14 red cards.
the Reds fans.
All three of them?
There's Reds fans.
The top five players.
There are no Reds fans.
The top five players in the set: Ronald Acuna sold 46,809. We're never touching that. Juan Soto 28,000 plus. Glaber 28,000 plus. Okay, so those are all the 2018 rookies. Everybody's after. Vlad Jr. 27,000. Mike Trout number 5 22,000. The bottom five players have all been real recent. Carlos Carrasco 17,000 or 1,700. Merrill Kelly it's almost 1,700. Ronaldo Nunez 1,600. Austin Hayes one shy of 1,600, and Cole Tucker at 1,560, the new low leader.
Okay, so
two of those are Baltimore Orioles.
Where does Joe Adell slot in?
He's
low 2000s.
He's going to be 2,200.
Yeah, I was honestly I was going to say probably right around 2,200 was the number I was going to throw too. It's just
there's still guys collecting the rookie cards, so
you really have to break this down into 18.
Don't make fun
19,
of me, Angela.
20 and 21 and beyond. You can't compare 18 to 21 because it was just a different dynamic back then. You know, this program has changed so drastically. We just can't compare them anymore.
Yeah, there's 111 rookies. There's been 43 Hall of Famers at the time, and 14 retired stars. I think all those guys are still retired stars. None of them in the Hall of Fame. There's 1.6 million cards have been printed as of card 382. So we have 2 weeks we're trying to figure out there. By the way, I think people are just feeling silly now. Dub Mentality said with the Bernie Sanders inauguration card of him and his mittens, sold 91,000 copies. It's a funny card. I like it. We got memed. But it sold 91,000 cards at like $10 a piece.
Yep.
So that's a payday for Topps. Way to go, Topps. Another payday they have coming up. Another Hall of Fame Transcendent product. Why? Because listen, you have a Hall of Fame Transcendent, and then you have regular baseball Transcendent, which you put Hall of Fame like. Yeah.
Okay,
Stop.
but who's affording these?
Have you not seen Phil's channel lately? He just doesn't have any content, so they got to put out that set for him to do 3 cases.
I'm just I don't understand it. It's the same Hall of Famers, and you're just now watering down all their autographs and a $30,000 product.
You want to get conspiratorial? All of the Hall of Famers dying in the last year. They got to get rid of the stickers.
But if you got a sticker auto in a $30,000 box, would you not just be pissed off?
Well, I mean,
if he's dead, no.
How many died in the past year? What, 8, 9?
I know, but would you? That's fine. Put it in flagship. Then put it in heritage. Put it in something.
That's too much for us. That's too much for us normies. You can't have that.
I like this. To horizontal or not to horizontal? We put out a poll this week. Help us solve a debate between Drunk Wax Twins and Those Back Pages, who's by the way a legend. Yes. How do you feel about modern horizontal cards? There's 145 people that voted. 39% said yay, and the right party there were 60% that said nay. Now, a team card's okay if it's horizontal, if you're putting all the players in there, or maybe a league leader card. But individual player cards should not be horizontal.
Depending on the photo.
No. Use a different photo.
You're all wrong.
No, use a different photo. All right, we're moving on.
The Tatis rookie is so much less desirable than the Juan Soto rookie.
They're just dumb. I mean, even unless it's a full set, I think we can all agree if it's a full set, it's one thing. But even still, no.
Because even the My Pillow guy can realize that that's fake news.
So what spawned this was we were talking about Juan Soto's card, and I said, "Hey, it looks great, amazing, even." And he said it was trash because it was horizontal.
It is.
If that was in a Stadium Club.
Yes, Stadium Club. Photo. That is where this belongs.
Stadium Club.
Stadium Club should be all horizontal.
I countered and said, "Well, fine." Because he said that not even in modern cards, there's no good horizontal cards, and I said, "Okay, fine. I'll stick with the same player." Juan Soto's rookie debut from 2018 Topps Chrome update.
He just struck out.
Amazing looking card.
So Steph, here's the deal, right? I collect nothing but team sets. That's what I collect. right? So if I'm flipping through my binder and every time I turn the page, I'm looking at the binder like this, and then I've got to flip it sideways and back
just do
to
your
enjoy
head.
the cards. Yeah. Now,
See,
granted,
I'm not an
Grant-
old, so I don't have to worry about getting kinks in my neck. If
No,
I
it's
have to
dumb.
stand
Shoulder
there.
might dislocate. Be careful.
Wow, that's flipping the pages. That's an issue.
So you have 12 cards in a team set with a couple of inserts and one damn card. Look, it's like the old Sesame Street. Which one of these don't belong? Horizontal. Horizontal.
Real quick, PSA's they're grading everything now. I think that they might want to grade my microphone. PSA is proud. They tweeted this out. PSA is proud to unveil its new autographed Funko Pop exclusive or encapsulated service. So if you have an autographed Funko Pop, they will grade it for you.
Well, see, and I'm really curious how this will work. Is it like a boxed encasement, or because I mean, the way it looks, it almost looks like they got like a Lego just topped it, and hey, that's the case.
No, it's literally like a box, and it's got like a little tiny stick that sticks up with the code. It looks awful.
So anyway, I just thought it was funny. My buddy at the LCS that works there, I was talking to him this week, and he submitted some cards to PSA, and one of them was a Brandon Clark Genesis for Mosaic, the rookie, not the NBA debut, but the base rookie card. But it was a Mosaic, right?
Mm.
When he got the card back, it was a 7. Now he's like, I wouldn't have sent a card in then knowing it was going to get a 7. He doesn't grade a ton, but he grades certain cards because there was a dent in the card. He takes pictures of all of his cards before he sends them in. The dent was not in the picture.
Mm.
So the couple questions that were floating around the shop were, did they swap cards? Did they damage it? Was it damaged during delivery and they didn't tell them the package was? Yeah, was they accidentally damage it? Was the package delivered damaged? But what do you do? Like, what recourse do you have to say, like, that's not the way I sent the card in? They go, that's the way we got it. We don't have any proof any other way. I don't know. I just
it's almost like you wish they could keep track of, and we're talking terabytes, if not petabytes of storage and videos, but get high quality scans and actually just sit and go, okay, this is what's happening to the card. Now, if you don't want to release the video of it actually being encapsulated or what goes on behind the scenes, sure.
The car wash even does that. Like if you go to an automated car wash, they videotape that. Right. My mother-in-law lost her bumper on the front of her car because the car wash malfunctioned, and they said it was falling off when she drove in. They showed her the video, and oh no, the bumper was ripped off. So anyway, Topps Madness. Let's get to our about the cards. Top Madness, the 68 years of Topps designs. The second round ended this week. We had some upsets, and the James Beckett bracket. The number 1 seed 1987 tied the number 9 seed 1960, 26-26, and the higher seed automatically moves on. The number 6 seed in the Burdick bracket 1980 beat the number 3 seed 1962. In the Klein bracket, the 1975 set number 6 seed beat the number 3 1984. So we had two sixes beat 3s. And in the Burger bracket, number 7, 1972 beat 1963, which I don't know how that's possible, but it did. So this week in the Sweet 16, in the Beckett bracket, we have 87 versus 89, 53 versus 55. So that's the top 4 seeds in that bracket. The Burdick bracket, number 1, 91 versus the 4 seed 69, number 2 seed 56 versus 6 seed 6 seed 1980. Over in the Klein bracket, we have 64 versus 54. That's a 1-5 matchup. And we also have the 52 versus 75 matchup, which is going to be my favorite to watch. That's a 2-6. But people love the 75 and stuff. What's that at right now on that one?
75.
It's down. You were just on it.
Down, down.
You were just on it. It's the very bottom one.
5-3.
5-3, 1975.
Who was just voting? Was that Steph that voted 75 over 52?
It was.
I voted
won
75
Burr.
over 52.
52 is overrated.
All I'm gonna say is
Not over 75. It's not.
if 53 doesn't win this thing, I will never come back
We'll
on
end
this
up
podcast.
sleeping on the couch over this, man.
The only thing that I,
53.
the only thing that I truly loved, the reason why I started collecting the living set is because 53 is hands down my favorite Topps design ever.
No,
It's hard to argue.
But it's going against our number one overall seed in 1987, so who knows? So we'll see. In the burger bracket, we have number one seed 1965 versus 4 seed 1983. That'll be an interesting matchup. And then we have a 3-2 matchup, 71 versus 72. Or I'm sorry, that's a 3-7 matchup. I don't know how 72 made it this far. Let's be honest.
I don't either. And who would vote for it over 71?
I didn't. 71's awesome, but it's hard to collect because of the black border. By the way, Kevin, Steph said 52 is overrated. I don't agree. 52 is a nice set. I just, but he also likes 1957. So let's be honest there. That's a crap ugly set, and that's what he thinks is a good set. So
earlier we were talking about the fact that the word junk wax has a negative connotation, right? The word overrated doesn't mean bad. You know, Nolan Ryan is one of the most, if not the most overrated pitcher in the history of baseball. It doesn't mean he's bad. He's a top 25 pitcher, in my opinion. I usually put him in the 21, 22 slot. He's not a top 3 pitcher of all time, and a lot of people think that.
Walter Johnson.
So 1952 is not a bad set. It's a top 10 set. It's just not the best set, and it's probably not a top 3 set. So therefore, it's overrated by that perspective. If it becomes the fifth best set of all time, great. It's the 5th best set of all time. It's not the best. It's not number 1. So by definition, it's overrated.
So remember, this is 7 weeks long. This is week 4. You can vote Wednesdays through Tuesdays, and we set it up that way so we could talk about the results on the show, obviously. Remember, this is sponsored by Underdog Collectibles. They offer a wide variety of break options that won't break the bank. Remember, always bet on the Underdog. And they are giving away, make sure you put your email in there because they're going to give away a box of 2020 Topps Update to one lucky voter. When we're all said and done with this, they will put that out there. Steph, you picked up some new sleeves this week. We've talked about this company in the past. Superior Fit sleeves, love them. They work. They have the, you have the one touches, which I love putting my cards in the one touches and then putting that on there. They have them for top loaders. They have them of all sizes, all sizes of PSA, BGS, all that stuff. They had some new products come out that you picked up this week. One that I'm very excited about.
They did. I picked up 4 different. 3 were new. I didn't have any BGS holders, or not BGS, but BCW, BCW Mag Touch. So I got some of those in. Worked just like the regular ones. However, I also got in the Topps encased product. So in this case, this was. Want to say Topps, not tribute, but something they released online. Prime, I think, maybe. And outside of the flappy, just barely encasing it. I don't know how well that's going to show up. For this particular product, it didn't fit nearly Superior. But I have some other Topps encased stuff that I want to try it out on. But the 2 that Shep was talking about, the one that he's most interested in, they also had some wax pack sleeves. And these fit snug like a dream. Flap is right down here. I'll have to give you guys my middle finger, but it fits perfectly. So for Angela's birth year set, you got 88 Pacific Baseball Legends. You really need to come up with a cello pack sleeve, maybe. And then my last one, gonna pop me back. Where's the button? Boop. Tobacco card sized. So it's in a sleeve, it's in a top loader, and then you can't even tell that it's in one, but it has a superior sleeve into it.
Well, and I like them because then they don't scratch the top loader. So when you look at the card, you don't think if it's like a chrome card and a top loader, you don't think the chrome's got a scratch on it, right? So if you take a picture or a scan or whatever, it looks good. So, you know, I'm excited. I'm going to go on there tonight and order some more products up.
Now, and speaking of, I did actually order another one, so we'll have one more next week. To counter the wax packs, there's one for current packs or like the 90s
foil packs.
Foil packaging.
Yeah, because I have a run from 79 through 20 of all the pack, most of the packs. I'm never going to get a Topps. I'm never going to get an 11 update pack. Sorry, it's just not going to happen. I can't find some of the mid 90s, early 2000 packs. Not even like I've been searching.
I mean, previous to this, this is what I was doing. So team bag, top loader, and then the pack there. So
I was doing a team bag and a dummy, and then writing on the dummy what the pack was, even though the front of the pack usually says what it was. So guys, so we're going to start doing a new thing every so often called Question of the Week, and this week's question is: do you think the card market is being manipulated like the stock market was the last week or so?
Buy GameStop, hold the line.
Diamond hands, boys. I've been in AMC for 1 week. Let's go. No,
To the moon.
My question is: we're using Robinhood?
No,
Yes.
I was trying to get in on Robinhood. I couldn't take too long, so I was a big dummy and I bought it on Cash App.
Aw.
I'm a true investor.
The say you bought the stocks, the same where people can get love for an evening.
Your shirt's doing that thing again, Chip.
Is it?
It
I think it's my camera.
He's psychedelic tonight.
Yeah, it's my camera on the. I'm back using the.
He's like he's on the Nintendo NES system where it's flashing.
Right. Well, there was a couple weeks back where
It's based on the
he
light.
was wearing a Royals jersey and it was just like greener than my shirt.
Yeah, because it had a green screen effect on that I didn't take off when I was messing around. It was like So.
It was wild.
But do you guys think the market is being manipulated? I mean, that to be honest, that's my question. Like, do you think that's happening? Where I mean, because like all of a sudden, Mike Trout raw update cards are what, like $1,600,
something like that.
Yeah.
Like all of a sudden.
You owe me some supplies.
So I was having a conversation. I had a conversation with some friends who are economists on the East Coast, and I floated some things by them, and so we're very negative on this show about Archives Signature Series, right?
Top side.
So what is market manipulation, right? Insider trading? Is it pump and dump, or is it influence, or is it all of the above? This industry is not regulated by the SEC or any governing body. So technically, market manipulation within this hobby is not illegal, although it shouldn't be promoted and praised. However, I was talking to James Kikowski one day, and he's like, you guys have the ability to manipulate the market, right? And I was like, no, absolutely. He goes, you guys have the power to influence. So if we speak negatively about Archive Signature Series, and here's James as a breaker, and he's like, oh, I'm about to buy this, and he decides, you know what? I'm not going to buy it because the guys over at About the Cards said it's a crap product. I explained this to Doug over at Mojo one time. I'm like, clearly, I forget if it was Archive Signature or if it was clearly authentic. I was like, this is not a good product. Maybe as a breaker, it's okay because of how you sell the product. I said, but the next time you open it, look at it as if you're just going to the LCS and you're buying a random box. And he responded, he goes, dude, you're right. And so market manipulation isn't necessarily a bad thing if you look at it as influential. It's when I'm going to go ahead and buy 100 of Joe Smith, and then I'm going to go on to my YouTube channel and I'm going to say Joe Smith is the hottest thing since
I'm gonna
whatever
say-
came out, and
Yeah,
then
I'm gonna spend. Oh, sorry. Go ahead.
and then while I'm talking it up, I'm actively selling it to you guys who are listening to me say it. That is insider trading. That is wrong. That's the pump and dump. That's the aspect of it that is wrong. So is the market being manipulated? Yes. Every time any one of us sends out a tweet or hops on YouTube or hits live on our podcast, anytime any one of us says anything, technically a market potentially has the ability. I was in a conversation with like 8 guys earlier, and we were talking about this, and I was like, collectively, we have, granted, there's a lot of duplicity in the followers. I'm like, we're absolutely in a position where if anybody sees this conversation, they might alter how they purchase. And if they do that, I mean, don't we always tell people buy what you want in the secondary market? Tim, you say it all the time. Hey, go let somebody else be the sucker who opens the product. Go over on eBay and just buy what you want. You're manipulating the market, not in an illegal way, but it's the influential side of it. So yes,
Well, no,
it absolutely.
But I think there are people like all of a sudden like 90 Fleer Jordans were like $1 card, right? Even though it was Jordan, it's a white. I mean, it's nothing fast, fancy, and it's always been like $1 or $2 card. All of a sudden now we're selling for like $10 or $11, and to me it's like, okay, well, what? How did that happen like overnight? Like I'm talking within, if you look back at eBay sales, this happened within like a 10-day period where, and what did he do? Like the documentary's not going on. He didn't do something, he didn't go out and bring Kobe back. Like right? Like why all of a sudden did the card get like an $8 bump instantly? So there's these, you just need to like kind of look at things. Like I understand if a guy has a great performance like Bull like is in a pickup game at the YMCA and he hit some half court threes and people are like, oh look, Bull, let's buy him. Or like last year when Dumbuya had that crazy dunk right for the Pistons, and all of a sudden it's like, oh, I'm gonna collect him. Or LeBron says that Horton Tucker is like the next Chris Bosh, or where he said like the guy could play basketball. Like he didn't give him that great of a compliment, and then all of a sudden everybody's buying Horton Tucker like he's the next coming, and it's like, or Kyle Guy, he hit a game winner, and it's like, dude, here in Sacramento we didn't even know he was on the team still. And like he hits a game winner in a meaningless preseason game, and everybody's like, buy. Okay, that happens because the performance leads to that. But somebody that hasn't played in the NBA in a long time, that there was a huge documentary, and even those cards during the documentary weren't selling for what they are now. Like that tells me like there's something else going on behind that.
The bigger question would be, and this is more rhetorical because there's no way to really answer it, is if this industry was all of a sudden regulated overnight by a governing body, how much of the manipulation in the market that we see today would be considered illegal? And I would say probably a considerable amount. And that's why it's so prevalent, because it's not illegal. And there's never going to be a governing body, although there are probably going to be some regulations put in place for breakers moving forward on the long term under state guidelines with lottery. I can see breaking seeing a precipitous drop off in the next 12 to 18 months, because you can't get on TV and CNBC and have all of these, Rob Kardashian opening up products, and then state legislators go, now wait a minute, what is breaking exactly? And then they go take a look at it and go, how is this not in violation of? I know box breaking is in violation on the fence from California state guidelines, because I've had a few lawyers that are friends of mine take a look at it and say, hey, hypothetically, and they're like, yeah, if somebody wanted to run with this, they absolutely could at the state level.
Yeah, but my thing real quick, I know we're going to talk into, I want to do some more looking in, because I know PayPal is shutting down some accounts of people that do breaking. But if you buy a team, right, like if you buy into this next week with Flagship, right, like you buy the A's and Steph buys the Twins, and I buy the Royals, and James buys the Mariners, we know, and it says, like it's stated when we buy it, hey, any Mariners cards that they come out are yours. Now, if it was something... What's up?
Just because a pack odd says it, though, and this is where it gets really tricky. How many cards?
No, it's in there, though. You're not guaranteed.
It's in there.
Yeah, but
we know it's in there.
But listen, But you put it in there and say, listen, if James' team does not, a Seattle Mariner card is not pulled, James receives a free chase pack, or he receives he receives something else. He receives.
You're buying this customized poker chip with my logo on it.
Yes, you're going to receive.
That's where state legislators are probably, if it ever comes to the point where there's regulation put in place. First off, for those of us here in the state of California, it's never going to go illegal. It's going to get taxed out the ass, because that's what this state does. The state of Nevada and the state of New Jersey, because of the casinos, I can guarantee you, if this started happening widespread, box breaking would become illegal in Nevada and New Jersey.
They said that daily fantasy football was illegal, and that took a while, but that all got cleared up because it's like
because they greased the right palms, and that's what it comes down to. And I could totally see breakers having to do IP tracking, and who's buying, and you have to do state taxes just like how eBay's doing it now. Regulations don't mean we're closing it down. It just means, hey, we're going to get it's like the mob. We're going to put our hand in the honey jar. And you guys want to continue to operate, we're taking 30% VIG off the top.
So what you're saying is we're going to see a lot more breakers in Texas.
They're all going
guys,
to move to Texas because of our taxes.
Right.
There is a big game coming up on Sunday. If the Chiefs barber doesn't have anything to do with it, as he tried to limit, I think he has money on the Bucks. But Super Bowl picks, guys. Who is your Super Bowl pick, and who is your MVP? Steph.
So before I even checked our notes, I'd said Bucks over the Chiefs. Closer game, a shootout. Brady MVP. Let him ride off into the sunset.
He's
Benjamin.
not retiring. Even if he wins, he's not retiring.
He's going to play till 50 just to show everybody up. Benjamin.
Yeah. The dumb answer that all of us are going to say is the Chiefs are going to win going away, and Mahomes will take home the hardware.
Yeah. Big game, James.
I got to go with the Bucks, just because I root for seeing history, and the more rings that Brady gets, the better at this point. I hated him a lot decades ago. I was a big Peyton Manning fan, and obviously the Seahawks and them winning the Super Bowl. But I'm growing to love Brady. I love what he's doing down in Tampa Bay. I love watching him play the game. I love people defying expectations, and him playing the way he did at age 43 is awesome. So I hope he does play for till 50. That said, I don't think he's winning the MVP. And if it's not Mike Evans, I think that it'll probably be a defensive player. And I think it's going to be a closer game defensively.
Yeah. In our private chat, that's exactly what I said. If the Bucks win, the MVP needs to go to that whole defense as a unit, because that's what's going to end up having to happen for them to beat the Chiefs. I don't think it's on Brady's back. I think it's on the defense's back.
If it's not Mike Evans hauling in 2 touchdowns and Brady throwing a couple picks, and if it's not Mike Evans getting the MVP, I can see it being, a Jason Pierre-Paul, somebody who gets a big interception, return touchdown, or something like that.
I think it's Chiefs over Bucks, and Mahomes the MVP, and I think that it's a really good offensive game. But I think just you look at the speed the Chiefs have on offense, and I think that is what. In the Bucks defensive backfields had some injuries, and I don't know if all those guys are coming back. They both starting safeties. Winfield was out in the NFC title game. The other guy hurt himself in the game, laying some lumber. So I don't know if either one of those safeties are playing, and they're already kind of light in the defensive backfield. So that if that stays the same, I could see Hill and Hardman and having a heck of a day. And Travis Kelce is something else. When Gronkowski is amazed by what you do, and he's probably one of the, if not the best tight end we've ever had, he probably could get surpassed by Kelce by the time his career is done, because of how the dude is just something else at tight end. So it's going to be a good game. I'm excited. We're going to have a good Super Bowl, I think. I don't think it's going to be like the one with Seattle and Denver we had a few years ago. Which
I didn't mind that one. That one was great. What are you talking
about? Or like the first half with the Falcons and Pats, where it was 28-3, and I won a bunch of money that night. That was awesome. But that game like was boring, right? Because you're like, dude, this is a blowout. It's halftime. Like you start to lose interest, and all of a sudden you look back, and it's like, oh, they're coming back. I think we're gonna have a good game all the way through.
Which is what I was going to lead in with. What are we thinking more 35-31 or 24-27?
Oh, I think we're in the 30s.
Thinking high scores, huh?
21-17.
Yeah. And if you guys want any team sets for 21-20 tops, let me know. Any final thoughts before we head out tonight?
No, just thank you guys for having me. It's always a pleasure.
Love it.
And, I'll always welcome myself back on the podcast.
Just you have to
come back next week.
Quick DM. You just slide in them DMs and say, "Hey, I want to talk. I want to rant. I want to do whatever," and you're in.
Perfect.
Very easy.
But remember, you said if 53 doesn't win our about the cards madness, you cannot come back. So,
oh damn! I committed myself. Damn.
So I'm sorry. When 87 wins, it was really nice to have you on the show these handful of times that we've had you. We really. It's nothing but this is just politics. We have to, you know. There's a great line in that.
Ben's gonna go full like Trump supporter if 87 doesn't win. In his mind, 87 won, or there's gonna be a recall or a recount, impeachment. I don't know. He's gonna do something where he impeaches all the voters.
There's a great scene in The West Wing in season 6 when you got the Democrats all battling, right? You got Russell, you got Santos, and they're going back and forth. And Will Bailey tells Josh, he goes, "Hey, listen, don't go out there and say something because when my guy wins, we don't want to be able to, we don't want you to do something to where we can't hire you." And unfortunately, I think Big Game James just said something to where 3 weeks from now,
I didn't hear it.
You better get all 3 weeks in over the next 3 weeks. And then we'll just air those at a later date. And we'll be like, hey, it's been 6 months since we've had him on. Why is he wearing the same T-shirt as her?
We will need a night off.
James is going to hire some bots to vote in our poll.
Yeah. All right, guys. Everybody, remember, we're live every Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific on YouTube. Make sure to subscribe if you are showing all platforms, and the little thumbs up, the little likes. That means a lot on YouTube. Make sure
800 people now.
Yeah, that's pretty awesome. James is like, I've been at 800 like years ago. I'm like, where are you now on YouTube followers, man? Like
8150.
10 times.
I had 1,900 new subscribers last month. I don't
tell them to come subscribe over here.
I can do that. I'll edit this into an intro and I'll tell them where they can watch it.
You do that, and we'll occasionally pop in and be the lucky charm again.
We will let you back in even if 53 comes in second, which is the best design. Hey, rest in peace, Dustin Diamond, piece of our childhood.
And Hal Holbrook, you're talking about the West Wing, right?
Hal Holbrook, and I said, he was like the actor, he was like the hot chocolate. He's just he always had like a warm feeling no matter what he was on.
I just watched an old Sopranos episode he was in. He was some guy from Bell Labs. Make sure you check out Underdog Collectibles at UDogCollect. Follow us on Twitter about the cards. Follow Ben at our trading cards. Follow Steph at Junkwax Twins. You can always follow Angela at another castle at another _castle.
And by the way, guys, I have a new blog. It's junkwaxlife.wordpress.com.
Oh, there we go. Mm-hmm. And Big Game James, we can follow you at Run Good Life, but where else?
YouTube.com/RunGoodLife, Twitter, Instagram, Run Good Life and Run Good Cards on Instagram. And then, of course, if you want to hop in a group break, I got the new website, rungoodlife.com.
Awesome. And we dropped that in the chat. We'll send that out again from our Twitter handle as well. You can always follow me at Big Shep 79. Make sure you share your hobby stories, great polls, send your questions our way. Keep collecting. We'll see you next week. I'm hoping to have a guest on next week, but he's being a little weird. So everybody encourage and say, come on the show. Come on the show. And we'll get somebody on here that's new. So everyone have a great night and enjoy the Super Bowl.